if in real life, hey, what's going on, Ava?
Hey, how you doing?
I am doing pretty good, not too bad. I know we keep missing each other.
It has
Uh,
been it's been a week, but I think everything is resolved now. I just woke
yeah.
up. It's don't have much time. Probably just gonna try to maybe get a G6 in. And
Yeah.
are you free after? I mean, I don't even know why. I'm gonna try.
It's got to be through Tilly, and this isn't
I
anything
sent her
against you.
messages. I sent her. I
Easy.
sent her.
So
No, but I haven't heard back, so I don't know.
I will poke her to make sure that she's keeping up on that. Transparently, we got a lot of work that we got to do
Yeah.
before I can really free up time, because we got like 6 pieces of legislation I got to review. Like right now, I'm kind of chilling before the onslaught. So to
Yeah.
answer that question, I want to, but it's very dependent on how my day goes.
Hmm. There were just some things I wanted to. I don't know. It's
Talk to
okay.
me.
You
No,
no,
talk to me.
no, it's
I
okay.
mean,
You
right
have
now,
your stuff to do, and I'm sure that you're on it. But
yeah.
I just
I want you to go. Listen, I got time right now. I'm kind of chilling, and so I can take a phone call if you want to kind of.
the only way I can put it is like this: is that I am 100% civilian, as you know. I don't do
Mm-hmm.
crime, and I literally am just making my living, just being as unproblematic as I can be.
Yeah.
And it's bothersome that being that way for years. I mean, I'm established as this for years, and
Yeah.
still I have to deal with the difference is the hello, hi, how you doing? Yeah, I am. I'm on the phone right now. I know how you are. I'll call you. I'll call you. I'll call you. Thank you. Sorry. The issue I have is that being legit doesn't matter. Criminals don't owe you anything, but the police
True.
do. But they, I don't know. I just really, 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 really want there to be some way that they can be held accountable for the things that they do. And as long
The
as,
police.
yes,
Oh yeah, that I'm cooking on that. I
it's a
wouldn't
big, it's
be.
a big, big thing.
I'm not. I would not be too concerned. That's a. There are a lot of things in motion that I can't discuss at the moment.
Yeah.
But with the appointment of the new chief, accountability is going to be an all-time high. One of the biggest challenges that I'm going to face as mayor is telling pretty much everybody to equally suck my dick, because the reality is that on the side of the here's look, I'm gonna shoot straight, right, Ava.
Mm.
Um, the majority of individuals are inherently selfish to either themselves or their immediate circle. And when I say circle, that could mean a gang. It could mean circles within a gang. It could mean
Yeah.
departments. It could be circles within a police department. It could be circles of civilians. It could be stall owners, right?
Right.
And and it's a very me culture.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, I know.
the beauty about me is, um, I don't give a fuck, right? It doesn't really matter to me, um, who somebody is, because I don't
Yeah.
know them shit. I will just as easily be satisfied packing my bags, going to Vegas, doing some coke, and getting my dick wet. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't bother me one way or another.
I
That's
understand.
Now. With that said, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
I have a very clear outline as to my expectations of the future chief of police.
Mm-hmm.
Those policies will include a high level of accountability. Now, what does that mean? Now, what that means is that bar, that standard, that expectation is going to be high enough that the individuals that have their rights violated will have some sort of recourse, right? Like an officer getting suspended,
Yeah.
potentially fired, depending on the grievance. Now, when that standard is put in place, I am well, I know very much that, you know, it's not going to hit the bar that everyone wants, right? It may not be high enough because there are a lot of people that expect cops should just be fired. I think that's absurd, personally, right?
I don't
It,
think
it,
that.
Now, on the flip side, what that also means is that there's going to be some cops that are themselves hyper self-centered, self-serving, etc., and they're going to get fucked in the ass because they're not going to want to be. They're not going to be able to just come on duty and do whatever the fuck they want, because everybody has to be held to a generally similar level of accountability. Otherwise, there is no accountability. So there's going to be a lot of butthurt cops, and that's okay to me. You know, so
I don't mind any of that. I just the problem that I've seen over the years, which you've probably already seen since you've been mayor,
you
is
could
that
think of
there's
6
a
months.
level of like, I don't care about, okay, so, and there was a cop that said to someone about the gun being stolen when they were trying to, because there was no report. So it's just like, okay, well, how are we supposed to be responsible and do this, and then they don't have to do that? And I think we talked about this a little bit at G6 that day.
Yeah.
But her response was something to the effect of, well, maybe they should have been more careful about, protecting their weapon or not getting it stolen. It's like, so somebody has a gun to you, and you're supposed to say, hey, what do you say in that moment to make them not take your gun when that's probably the reason why they're holding it up in the first place?
Like I said, Ava, like trust me, I've seen it myself, and hence the very strong standards. To give you an idea, Ava, I had to deal with an hour into getting in office. The first thing that was brought to my desk was the PD coming to me and saying, we want faster cars. And that included, look, there's a lot of, I'm going to do my best. I think the new chief of police, while they may not, I think is going to do their best effort. And the most I can do at the moment is ensure that the best chief that has a brain and is willing to keep people accountable is in place.
Yeah.
So that over time, the police department can be properly built up. But I am facing...
That is where it has to start, though.
Yep.
There has to be consequences for it, retraining something.
Yeah, 1,000%. And it does mean a lot of fun is going to get pulled out, but that's okay, because guess what? You got, being a cop is a privilege at the end of the day.
Yeah. Do you think there's any possibility that there could be like an actual, like what the civilian review board was supposed to be? Could there be something that's actually in place where people can go? Because
maybe. So Ava, I'm going to be rather transparent. The city's gotten really lazy across the board. Doesn't matter if you're a cop, doesn't matter if you're a civilian, doesn't matter if it's what, right? And having been around as long as I have, I can sense that, right?
Yeah.
So I need to ensure that the things that are put in place, and I may sound presumptuous and very arrogant with that statement, but that's okay, because I have to make those, assessments, right? Otherwise, without the assessment, I can't make an objective decision. And given that assessment, I believe that something like a civilian oversight committee is too much red tape. Instead, the hammer instead needs to come down, and high command needs to be accountable for keeping their cops accountable. And that's the direction I'm sort of taking it. Now,
what about something like a civilian liaison?
As things develop up, right, then I'm going to be open to the idea of adding another piece of red tape. And the reason I say red tape, Ava, is my directive, it will be with the LSPD, same day, recourse, 48 hours max, right? And adding a civilian oversight would lengthen that process.
Right? What about just like a civilian liaison, like somebody designated?
I'm open to the idea, but Ava, I'm dealing with 6 months of legislative debt, and so until I catch up with that,
Yeah.
I don't even think I have the bandwidth to entertain. I don't want to tell you it's a good idea or a bad idea because that's going
No,
to
I understand. I
require me to
understand.
cook. And unfortunately, I don't have enough time to,
No, I understand.
think
I don't
through
think
the.
anything right now
Yep.
is going to be. I think you have a lot on your plate already.
Yeah. I'd
But I
say in
just,
another week or two, raise it back up and don't let off the gas on that. I just don't want
yeah, I
to
don't want to
tell
be.
you
I don't
yes
want
or
to be
no
annoying
without.
though.
No, no,
I don't
no.
want to be
That's
a
not. I
bother.
don't.
Like you see
That's.
the number come up, and it's like, oh,
I
this chick again. Oh
literally will
God.
never get bothered. I am more bothered by the fact that I'll tell you what bothers me. It bothers me that apparently the city's been in a drought of materials, and I'm only hearing about it like I knew materials were down,
Yeah.
but now I'm hearing, hey, we don't have any pots, we don't have any materials, please fix. And I'm just like, bro.
Because there's nothing designated. That's the problem.
Well,
Everybody's just doing everything for themselves, and once their needs are met, that's it. But it doesn't
yeah,
serve the city as a whole. That's the problem.
exactly. Yep, you're
It's
you're
a
you're right.
very me oriented
Yep.
society at the moment, and that's not going to help anything as long
And
as
the
people will
mayor's
go and
not
do
going to
lumber for
change that.
themselves.
Yeah, the mayor's not going to change that. You're not going to change
Right.
that. No one's going
No,
to
it's
change
not.
it.
It's
So
not.
the inherent solution is, well, the solutions need to be acknowledging that reality and
Yeah. There was one thing
accommodating
I
of it.
wanted to ask you. I
Hmm.
don't know if it's something that you can do or whatever, but there was one thing that happened not too long ago. Um, when you're doing G6, that I don't know if you know if you, but when you do G6, the tier 3 truck, when you go to the vault,
Yeah,
sometimes there's more than one truck doing it at the same time.
yeah,
So we tend to back up to it, the thing, and with that we were not blocking traffic or anything like that, because the
yeah,
locals sometimes, if you're parked on the sidewalk, they don't know how to just go around you. They just back things up. And at least one person got a ticket from Croc for doing that. And then when I
yeah,
called to for the 311 that I'm going to the vault, so that, if police can show up or not,
yeah.
he literally said I ruined his plans because I parked legally. He only came there for the purpose of seeing me park that way so he could give me a ticket and a citation and the fine for it. And then he left when I didn't do it because I parked legally. And I did that because I was with somebody when they got a call from the G6 workers. He was doing that. Is there any way that G6 could, I mean, even if not now, but just, is there a possibility that
I think
G6
that
could get like a
problem's going
temporary
away.
permission?
Yeah, I
Oh,
think the
okay.
best way to do it. Well, so number one, that problem's getting resolved.
Okay.
Um, and we are passing G6 legislation. And
Oh,
what
okay.
I'm thinking, and that's for effectively like castle doctrine, right? If
Okay.
that's even the right word to use, that allows you to keep your guns out. If you're doing a
Yeah.
T3 run, you can have your guns out and you can tell people not to approach. And if they display a firearm, you can open fire.
Okay.
Um, Now, in regards to the backing up thing,
Mm.
I'm about to hit tier 3, and I'm gonna take a look and see for myself
Yeah.
whether it's even necessary. Because what
If you're the
I'm
only,
gonna think about, what I need to contemplate, is
yeah.
why are you backing up? Well, you're backing up probably to give yourself some level of protection. However, once
Yes.
this new G6 law passes, ideally, you got 3 people, 2 remain on the outside holding guard, and 1 fills it up. Now, does that mean you take your time more? Sure. But does it now require you backing up? So let,
Um.
let me
Yeah.
let me have this in the back of my mind, and let me kind of let
The
me
only
try out the tier 3 and see what it's
right,
gonna look like.
but just yeah, but just understand one thing.
Yeah.
Everybody who has a tier 3 does not have 3 people working it. Some people do it solo.
Well, so now the question,
Yeah.
yes, and maybe they shouldn't, and maybe that
Because
is
the
going to
thing is, if
become
one
illegal.
person, yeah, if one person takes a bag, I'm sorry, a pallet out, you can't finish the job for the vault. If somebody takes the bag when you're doing the regular runs
Yep.
to the regular bank, you can turn that in with whatever you have and come back and get paid just a less amount. But if you are doing a vault to the Pacific,
Yep.
if they take one pallet, that job is gone and you have to start over again.
I would,
So, but
and
yeah,
I
so
get
I
what
never
I
leave it
get what
on.
you're saying, Ava, but I think that's the wrong way to look at it.
Which
because
way?
a singular individual should not be doing a tier 3 run.
No, I am
And
not saying that I
oh,
don't do that. I'm saying that people do solo it, so you don't have the three. Because you said that that's what you're thinking of, but I'm saying you have to understand some people do it with two, some people do it by themselves completely, because sometimes you can't get
I mean,
two
fuck
people
them,
to
to
do it
be
with you.
honest. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
kind of.
yeah, and I get that, and that's what I'm saying
Yeah.
is what do you call it? That those who are doing it solo may not be able to down the line, and that's
Okay.
like I'm looking at it from a bigger picture, which is starts with the premise of you are moving millions of dollars to the vault,
Right.
and as such, you should be granted the privilege to
Right.
inherently um, secure not just
Hmm.
yourself but the money as armed security.
You're right. That's why when
Now,
I do it, I always have somebody
but
manning the truck. So every time they close the door back
correct.
and forth, I don't understand the idea
But
of
hold
leaving the
on,
doors
Ava. Let
open.
me just finish the thought, which
Yeah, go
is
ahead.
in the same breath, that also means that you have a responsibility not to
Hmm.
do it solo, right?
Yeah, I
And
would agree with that.
I may possibly make it finable that if you do it solo, you get fucked in the ass. And the reason for this, from a grander perspective, as I get it, is that a lot of arguments boil down to um, how much money per minute I'm making. But in the
Mm.
reality is I'm trying to create an atmosphere where I can get more money for G6 on top of it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But if people are just like, I'm trying to ungrind what is currently grind so that then it can be padded with money. You know what I mean?
Right.
Put more
No, I
money
do.
in the pockets, but at first we got to get people's mindset right. Otherwise,
That's true.
we're just lining the pockets of people that are gonna,
Right.
nosedive pallets into the vault.
Right, but I will say one thing about this, just to
Mm-hmm.
make sure it is there's a lot of people who have a very serious grinder mentality, but there's also people who want to do the work, but they literally can't get partners because doing G6 messes with sanitation, it messes with this, messes with that, so they can't get partners to do it. And other people are not able to even come to
Mm-hmm.
G6 because they're felons. They're not even allowed, and we don't know if
And that makes
you're not allowed
sense.
to sign. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's like you want to work, but
and that's a
you
good
can't
point,
get
Ava.
anybody.
But
Yeah.
once again, these are kind of like, um, you
Yeah.
know, and I have that picture right in the back of my
Yeah.
mind, but uh, the these things have to be looked at holistically
Right.
rather than base everything on edge cases. Uh,
Exactly. No, I
because
understand.
yeah, it's true. You can only do it at a certain time. Yeah, it's true. Affects like rep. But
Hmm.
the solutions to that is get people doing it right. It might
Right.
mean that less G6 runs, but now these guys got guns, and now we might double, triple the payout, right?
Yeah.
And that may inherently encourage people to say, yo, fuck this. I'm going to remain a civilian. Fuck that. I'm going to get my
Mm.
record expunged. So I do G6 and do it right. So,
Yeah.
I have to
Sounds
come at it
good
from
though.
that angle rather than solve every edge case, because the edge
Yeah.
cases cannot be solved, right? Because
Well,
if
the
you aim
bottom
at the edge
line.
case, it's going to have massive side
Yeah.
effects
Yeah.
on the bigger
No.
things.
I think the bottom line is I feel like you're going to really do, and I think you're already doing a lot to make changes that are going to help, but you're not going to please everybody. There's been people that don't know everything, but they're going to think that you're doing something for this or that, but you can't be bothered.
Yeah,
Actually excited for
yeah.
what's going to come, even if
We,
it's going to be a little, things
yeah,
might change a little bit. I think it'll be for the best because I think you genuinely have the best interest of the city at heart,
yeah.
and you're actually trying to work it out and figure things out, and that means a lot because I've been in the city. I've been here a long time, and I just want to be able to enjoy being a civilian and not just
Yeah.
have to be like, God, another day. It's exciting to think that things are going to be different. So I appreciate you for that. And I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me because you really don't have to, especially with how busy you are.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a lot of, yeah, there's like I said, the biggest thing is filling up this legislative deficit so that we have a foundation to kind of build off of. And then
Yeah.
as that starts to get filled, I can start to kind of drive my attention towards some of the other things. But we are trying to split up the work
Mhm.
as best we can so that I have more people that can focus on the different things. But that in and of itself, if you think about it, has
Yeah.
its own, challenges, like, training people up, and
Yeah.
all that. So, I got to get
Sounds
going though,
good.
Ava.
Yeah.
And, like I said, try to, if you don't mind, try to,
Mhm.
reapproach me on this in like 2 weeks time. We'll see how things are looking.
Yeah, no worries.
Yep.
Well, approach with what?
Oh, the civilian oversight.
Oh, I've already told you. I'll just message Tilly about it. I mean, you have people in place for things, and I'm sure you're
Mhm.
on top of everything. If you think of something that you want me to help you with, then you just let me know. But
All right.
I I don't have. I mean, I've talked to you plenty, and I don't want to kind of impose, and I think you know what you're doing. So
Yep.
I think
I
it's all
appreciate
right.
that, Ava. All
Okay.
right.
All
All
right.
right.
Well, you take care.
Easy. All right. You take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. That was a good conversation. Yeah, we need to fill the legislative deficits first. Like even simple things like getting that, getting some of that baseball,